quiz creation happens in two steps. First is to actually create a bank of questions, and the second is to pull those questions together in an actual quiz or test. Now, to create your bank of questions, in your administration toolbar on the left-hand side, you want to click the one that says Questions. And this will bring you up to the Edit Questions page. Now, there are a couple things you can do here. One, we can just go ahead and create a new question immediately, the type of question. Another thing you may want to do is assign some categories for your types of questions. If you want to do that, click on the Categories tab for your course. And again, this isn't necessary. This may help you. But suppose, just for argument's sake, you want to have easy questions. And no info necessary for here. Of course, you can categorize however you want. And let's make another category just for the sake of having more than one. And let's say hard questions. Obviously, that's probably not the type of way you'll want to categorize it. You may want to categorize it more according to the type of content you're doing, but this will work for what we're doing. Now, going back to the questions area, now we want to create a new question. I can now create an easy question, and I want to choose the type of question. Now, you could do calculated question, description questions, essay questions, matching questions, embedded answers, multiple choice, short answer, numerical, random, true, false. These are all pretty much self-explanatory. So suppose we want to make a multiple choice answer question. You just click multiple choice. Now at this point, the next thing you want to do is you want to give it a question name. Now this is not what students are going to see. This is just something that's easy to help you remember. So you can call it whatever you want. We'll just call this test question. When you pull these questions up when your creation test, you're going to pull them up by the question name. So try to make the name descriptive enough that you'll be able to remember what the content of the question is. You may want to name it based on the answer or something. Now, the next box is the question text. This is what the students are actually going to see. And again, if this was what kind of question are we doing? Multiple choice. So we want to say, what is 1 plus 1? Like I said, easy question, right? Now, default question grade, you get 1 point per. Penalty factor, this is basically by default students can retake questions, and if they do, this is how much is taken off. If you don't want them to do that at all, if they just make it 1, that way if they retake the question, they miss the entire answer. We can disable that entirely anyway. But if it's 0.1, that would mean they could retake the question up to 10 times until they finally lose all credit. So you can play with that and work it into how you want. General feedback, this is when the question is answered whether right or wrong. You should know this. This is whether right or wrong. That's what's going to come up in the answer. And now you can start providing some answers. Choice 1 may be, again, you can use multiple answers or just one answer. Do you want to shuffle the choices? Do you want choices A, B, C, 1, 2, 3, etc.? So we're going to do normal A, B, C. So answer number 1 is 1. General feedback. Feedback, if they do this, would be, I didn't say 1 times 1. Of course, obviously, you don't have to provide any feedback. 2. And here's our feedback. And we'll give 3. And then our fourth and final answer. You can do as many as you want. One more thing worth doing in each of these. You notice that the grade, again, this is if they get it right or wrong, how much. If they get it right, we're going to give them a full 100%. You can do this if you want to give partial credit for some answers, then you can do this to give them I factored that wrong. So if they get 2, they get the full question right. This would be 0, so none. None is obviously a wrong answer. If they do 2, they get 100%. 3, they would get no, and of course 6,085, we get no credit. But again, you could have partial credits. And then when you're done, overall feedback for any correct response, good job. Partially correct responses, and this is if you had given them partial credit, which we haven't. Incorrect responses, go back to first grade. Do not pass, go. And then save the changes. Now, at this point, you have a question created, and it's called test question. And then we can move around the categories, etc. And again, so I want to create another question, then I could just do the whole thing and create it, choose a new question. You can do them all: calculated, grades, description questions, essay questions. Obviously, essay questions, you're going to have to grade yourself, matching questions. Again, this is just a matter of just go through each one of the modules. It's all pretty self-explanatory. Bottom line is, classify your questions by a category, go through there, create them, and then when you're done, then you'll be able to import these questions to create an actual test.